Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of True Talk. I'm of course True, and I am currently sat here waiting for my Xbox One X to be delivered. I got the email today from DPD, that's the UK courier, who have got my Xbox One Scorpio Edition, and they gave me the fantastic news that it's not going to be delivered until between 4:40pm and 5:40pm. It's currently 11am as I get an email there. In the UK here, so I've got a good 5, possibly 6 hours to wait to get my hands on the console itself. Downside to that is I was hopeful I was going to get the console pretty early, as after all I only live 15 minutes away from the bloody depot that it was coming from. But and normally things that get delivered by DPD I normally get early to mid-morning, and I've had very few packages delivered about mid-afternoon, but nothing as late as this. But sod's law, it is what it is, isn't it? I mean, luckily we do live in a day and age where where they can give you an hour delivery window. I mean, remember the dark old days of like 2012, 2010, when you had to wait in all day, or they could only give you an AM or PM slot. I mean, that was ridiculous. I mean, some places still do that, which is astounding. But at least I know it's coming. At least I know it's here. Just gonna have to wait until about 9 p.m. to actually start unboxing the damn thing and having a go of it, hopefully. So I've wrote a few brief topics down to cover this. As I say, it's completely unscripted, so apologies if there's any pauses here, any hesitations or anything. Just my grey matter takes a little bit to get going nowadays. But whilst I'm waiting for it to arrive, I decided to move all my games onto my 5TB external HD. I saved also my Xbox One settings, so I can just install the HD and get everything up and running ASAP with the One X when it's finally here. And I just want to thank Mike Ybarra and the Dashboard team for coming up with this feature, because this feature is a godsend, really. It's just so easy. I mean, I'm currently transferring a external 1TB drive and the obviously 500TB internal drive over to the 5TB one. Now, without that feature in place, it would take absolutely forever moving each item individually. It would be just ridiculously, stupidly slow. But this was so easy. It was just go to transfer, click select all, click the target destination drive, and it's doing its business now. It's just transferring the games over. I'm not I can play a game on my Xbox. My Xbox is unhindered. I can just use it as per normal whilst it's doing its business and transferring everything over. So hopefully in the next hour or so I'll have a completely empty Xbox One. I'm going to keep my Xbox One for backup reasons, and that's going to be my Xbox Insider program console, because I'm not going to put my One X into the Insider program, because I am currently in Alpha Ring. Those of you who don't know, Alpha Ring is the first protocol, the first build that gets released to the public in a way. And it's generally usually buggy as hell and can have a lot of problems, and some people have even had their consoles bricked by it. So not going to chance that with the X there. So I'm going to use my launch day one Xbox One Day 1 edition as the Insider program one, so I can continue to provide feedback to the team. But thanks once again for that brilliant feature there, because it's just making life an awful lot easier at the moment, transferring all those files over. The reason behind that was, as well, transferring everything over, was that I obviously want to bring you guys 4K recordings. And I looked into how to do that, because I use I think it's pronounced Hopage HD PVR to capture my footage, and it only captures up to 1080p. So I looked into it, thought, how am I going to capture 4K footage? Looking into it, Hopage and Elgato, who were the two main two most recognizable ease of use companies, I would say, don't offer anything above 1080p at the moment. So I looked into it a bit further, and you can get 4K capture cards and things such as that, but the price of them, boy, the price of them is just absolutely insane. I'm telling you, you're looking at about over £1,000 for a capture card in 4K. But then I learned the One X can actually do it itself. There's two ways it can actually do this. The first way is no good for my purpose. It's no good for YouTubers or anybody who wants to use the footage in any meaningful way outside of the console ecosystem. But it does allow you, as you currently can do, capture small clips. I think it's up to 5 minutes on the console. Put them through Upload Studio and share them in the community pages. However, if you want to capture a more substantial clip up to an hour, then you need to use an external drive. You unfortunately, this is the problem with it, unfortunately have to format the external drive into a specific format so it can capture the 4K footage. Now that format isn't compatible with the regular format that a HD would be used to play games from. So you've basically got to devote a whole drive to capturing 4K footage. So I wanted as little as possible on the 1TB drive as possible, but I wanted to retain the 1TB drive for game storage as well, just as a means of backup and just easily transferring small quantities of files, maybe from the X back to the day one Xbox One. So that meant I needed an extra drive. So I've got another 1TB drive that's coincidentally coming today as well, and that's going to be formatted into the 4K capture format. So fingers crossed, if it's all as easy as I've read up on, I should be able to bring you 4K true 4K footage captured straight from the Xbox One X, which will be fantastic. Obviously, you need to watch it on a 4K monitor or device or display screen. A lot of people don't realise that, and when videos are on YouTube, that you do have to be watching it on a 4K device or a 4K television screen or monitor to actually see the benefits of it. Otherwise, you're not getting the 4K image. So you see a lot of people saying it's just the same, it's no different. Yeah, that's because you're not watching it on a monitor that can output that signal. But it's not making fun of anybody anyway. It's just something that some people just don't think of really. You obviously need to be watching it on the correct kind of device. But anyway, yeah, I should be able to bring you 4K footage if everything goes to plan, and which would be great really, because if games that I review contain Xbox One X enhancements, then I can obviously comment on them and show you what the enhanced version looks like over the regular flavoured version as well. That's another reason to retain my regular Xbox One, just so I can do those comparisons. I'm not quite sure how you do split screen, like Digital Foundry do and some other channels do. I don't know if my Power Director 14 editing suite allows me to do that. I'll have to actually look into it. Maybe possibly upgrade to one of the more up-to-date Power Directors, because I think they're on 16 at the moment. But worst case scenario, I'll just have to manually flick between them both. But you'll get the gist of it anyway. So, but yeah, it's a big learning curve for me, because I'm learning new things, I'm learning new techniques, I'm learning new things my Xbox can do. So yeah, quite looking forward to that. Anyway, what else can we talk about as time slowly drags by until I can play my X? The reviews. Excuse me. Obviously the reviews came out. The members of the press who were luckily given a 1X has been flooded with videos. I was intending to get a specific video out on this on Sunday, but health reasons and whatnot didn't get done. But yeah, I wanted to bide my time a little bit, not do a knee-jerk reaction. I wanted to consume quite a lot of the reviews from all points of view. I watched some of the extreme fanboys from the Xbox camp. I watched some extreme fanboy reviews from the PS4 camp. I watched people who live in reality. The ones that do have a preference. and but are more realistic with things, which I put my channel into. While I'm obviously in the Xbox camp, I do call BS when I see it. I won't pander to them really. If something's a load of nonsense or a wrong move, I'll say it as it is, and I enjoy my PS4 as much as I enjoy my Xbox, just for the exclusives at the PlayStation 4, but I don't get into the Xbox hasn't got any exclusives things, the Xbox has got no games. Well, I've got over 1,000 games nearly on my Xbox, and once I've transferred everything onto my 5TB drive, I've just short of 1,000 games available for me to play on Xbox One. So if that's having no games to play, bloody hell, you know. But anyway, I kind of went off topic a little bit there, but yeah, I wanted to digest all the views, the extreme views, the more realistic views, the views from people who don't have a dog in the race, like Digital Foundry, for example. I always respect their guys' opinions because they do the most thorough, in-depth analysis of everything. They basically tear things apart. And when you sift through and block out all the fanboy noise and everything, the general consensus seems to be it's an excellent console. And it's obviously the most powerful console, that's without shadow of a doubt there. And the general consensus I've got is that Microsoft have provided an absolute brilliant console. It's got all the power. It's now over to the developers to use the power and to utilize it. And Microsoft's job now is to get that power across to the public in better ways, because I don't think they've done a good a job as they could have done. I think they've focused on the wrong areas in their advert. I think that a lot of people said they liked their advert. I personally didn't like it. I thought it didn't showcase. It didn't showcase what the X could do very well. It needed to. Again, it's hard, because how do you market a 4K device to somebody showing 4K footage if that person hasn't got a 4K display? You can't really do it, can you? Because the people aren't actually seeing the image that you're pushing on them, that you're actually demonstrating to them. So it's very difficult. It's not an easy process for them. Not a very easy process to do at all. But anyway, back to the point I was making. General consensus seems to be that brilliant console, excellent machine. Everything's pretty much, really, really good. Could be some bottleneck issues on the GPU side, and probably the weakest aspect is the CPU, from what I understand. But regardless, it's a fantastic bit of kit for the asking price. It's a phenomenal bit of kit for the money. It's a bargain, to be honest with you. Even though it's an expensive premium item, for what you actually get under the hood, it is technically a bargain, really. But it's over to the developers now. It's over to developers to utilize that power, and it's over to Microsoft to get the developers to utilize that power. Because if nobody uses it, then it's all been for nothing. It's all been for nothing, really. If we're not seeing them 4K assets, the resolutions, pushing games to 4K 60 frames per second, it's been all for naught. It's been all for nothing, really. And that's Microsoft's main job now, is getting the public educated, getting the developers on board. Whether that's first-party stuff, third-party stuff, maybe third parties need to be incentivized to do an enhanced upgrade. Maybe that's the way to go. I don't know. There's another topic which, if I start on it now, I'll lose my train of thought here. But yeah, it is over to the developers really to do things with it and to use it properly. Now that kind of neatly leads on to another topic which came out yesterday when Digital Foundry did a PS4 Pro and Xbox One X comparison with Titanfall 2, and the consensus there was the PS4 Pro version was surprisingly the place to play the game, the better version of the game. And of course, fanboys came out and started jumping all over it, because obviously Digital Foundry had the Suitgate comment, didn't they, which Xbox fanboys have ran with. So I suppose you're going to give the Sony fanboys a little bit of a retort there. But yeah. But just if you actually listen to what Digital Foundry said, they did say that it was bizarre and surprising. So they were shocked, really, and basically you've got to, like I say, listen to what they were saying, that this is just basically a shoddy upgrade job. It's a shoddy job at doing an enhancement. It's just a pork, and you can't blame Microsoft for that, really. You can't blame them for that. If the developer cuts corners and the developer does a half-assed job, maybe they were pressured to get it out for launch day, I don't know, but Digital Foundry even thought it seemed like it's alpha code or even beta code. It was so poor in places, and yeah, that obviously can't be right, because we know what the X can do. So that's going to get sorted out in the long term. It's obviously something's gone wrong. Maybe even somebody's uploaded the wrong patch. That's happened before. I've seen that happen before in plenty of games, that the wrong patch is being uploaded. So yeah, very, very bizarre. Which leads on to another topic about encouraging companies to do enhanced games, to make Xbox One X enhanced games. Microsoft's Phil Spencer, head of gaming, the guy basically is Mr. Xbox and is basically turning the brand around, announced some fantastic news yesterday that they are changing their focus on first party. They're changing their strategy. They're going to be setting up new studios. They're going to be acquiring studios, so we can get a lot more first party content, because that's obviously Microsoft's weakest area. And Phil Spencer came in after the Matic debacle of the Xbox One's launch, which was bad, and ended up with him resigning. And then Phil took over, and Phil's just gradually been sorting it out. He had a 3-point plan, I believe he said he had, and we're now on to stage 3. He's got the hardware sorted out with the X. He's done that. He's sorted out his backward compatibility. He was a big fan of. He's sorted that out in spades. Not only do we get Xbox 360 back compat, we now have OG Xbox as well. And this is the way forward, I think, for consoles in future. They need to be part of a family, and you need to know that your games that you're buying are not just going to disappear into the ether, and you have to start again every time a new console comes out. But more on that a little bit later. But now stage 3 is to get the first party sorted out, which they know this is their weakest area. They've had a lot of things go wrong for them. They've had a lot of things out of their control go wrong for them. But they've also rested on their laurels a little bit too much. Admittedly, they've been busy with a number of other things, like getting the X up and running. But nevertheless, it has been an area that they've sorely neglected, really, and had like a few really bad problems with along the way. But this is the part 3. Phil's finally reached the part 3, and I believe in this guy to sort it out, because he is a gamer, and he has transformed the Xbox scene since he took over from Matic, who God, I hated that guy. No, I didn't really. Hate's a strong word. I didn't really hate him, but I just hated the presentation and his cockiness attitude of how that first conference went down, that reveal at E3. I can't remember in what year it was now, but man alive, it was just like, it was a shit-eating grin that he had, and it was just like trying to force shit down your throat, and just kept piling it in. And then the biggest comment that really wanted me to swing for the guy was, it wasn't even on the stage. If it was afterwards, it was an interview. I can't remember the specific question he was asked, but it was asked something about the controversy over the basically DRM gate, wasn't it, and stuff like that. And he basically said, well, if you're not interested in that, we have a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360. And I thought, that's not the thing to say, is it? You're wanting people to buy your new console, but you Jesus, man. Honestly, that guy, best thing he did was leave the Xbox brand after that conference. But Phil's finally reached his stage 3, and I believe he's going to get it sorted out. I believe he's going to get get it fixed, as he's done with all the other areas. The hardware sorted out, the back compat sorted out. Now it's time for the first party. Sure, we're not going to see these for a few years. Games take time to make. Hopefully, this is a delayed announcement. Hopefully, he's been working on this. Hopefully, we're going to get an announcement that he's bought PUBG. They've got that as a console exclusive. Hopefully, that's going to be the case. Hopefully, he's going to acquire a few studios that have titles in the works already that they can just simply shift as to be, Xbox exclusives. That they can just say, we're buying you, drop development for PlayStation, you're solely developing for Xbox now. There you go. And if we do that, games will come out quicker because they're obviously partway through the development cycle. But obviously, we're not going to see this the plan of this come to fruition till probably about 2020. In all honesty, at the very, very earliest, maybe even later, and we may be even on to another console by then. But you've got to start somewhere, haven't you? You can't just have instant results. You have to start somewhere, and it looks as if he has started to address the biggest failing of Microsoft Xbox at the moment, and that's the first party games. Because even some of the exclusives aren't first party games. They're what I think they call it second party. Sunset Overdrive, that was second party. It was console exclusive, yeah, but they don't own the IP, and they don't, and they just paid a studio that they didn't own to make the game for them. Same with Rise and a lot of other games. I think even Forza, they don't own the studio for that. And that's, you know what I mean? It's they're addressing it, which is the main thing, and I believe that Phil will get it sorted out. Okay, next thing we can talk about. Let's talk about some things channel related for a bit of a change. I've got some reviews coming out in the next few days. I've got the latest Artifacts Monday game. That review's in the bag. Just got to do the title cards and things for that. That's a pretty good game. Usual kind of thing from Artifacts Monday. And I've got a really special game coming up as well. I'm not going to tell you its name, but honestly, I really love this game that I've done a review for. It's gone straight up into my top 3 of the year for the independent scene there, and I'll probably get it out tomorrow for you guys. It's worth anybody who's a retro fan as well of a certain genre. It's the beat 'em up genre, it's the side-scrolling brawlers genre, Final Fight, Double Dragon, like that. I'll let you into that. A game's come out. It is unfortunately US only, but it just feels so right. I've played a lot of side-scrolling brawlers. It's my favourite genre from the golden age of arcade gaming. I've played all the classics, like your Final Fights, your Double Dragons, your Cadillacs and Dinosaurs. Played all of them. I've played some obscure shit as well. Mr. Baseball Man. There's even one where you play as a funny clown. I've played some really obscure Japanese ones. I've played Neo Geo ones like Mutant Nation, I think it's called. 8-Man on the Neo Geo, Mug Smashers 2, Night Slashers. Played some really obscure shit. And it's a dying genre, this. It's a genre that doesn't get a lot of attention nowadays, which is a shame, really, because, like I say, it's one of my favourite all-time genres. We had the recent, I can't remember what it was called now, Zombie something it was called. It was one based in London, wasn't it? That came out a few weeks ago, maybe a month ago, and that was hugely disappointing. Still going to do a review for that, but hugely disappointed with that. Just didn't feel right. But this game's come out. I'm not going to mention its name. This game's come out, and it just blew me away. It just feels like a game pulled from that era, and it's got so much longevity to it as well. It's just awesome. It's just, like I say, instant top 3 games of the year, straight there, without shadow of a doubt. Watch out for that review coming shortly, and I hope you really enjoy it. It's just a shame it's only US at the moment, probably because of bloody Peggy again with their stupid fees. If anybody doesn't know what I'm referring about with Peggy, This is going off topic again, but anyway, there's no script to this this ramble anyway. But PEGI is the equivalent for you non-European fans of the, is it ESRB or ERSB? I always get it mixed up. Anyway, the ratings board. It's the rating boards for Europe, excluding Germany, because Germany have their own ratings board due to laws about Nazis and references to the war, etc. But anyway, it's the European ratings board. They charge ridiculous fees that are just anti-indie gaming, anti-small studio. They charge a fee based on the file size of the game for a start, which is complete bonkers, because what's that got to do with rating anything? What's that got to do with anything? You know, there could be no content of a game that's several gigs, and there could be a lot of content for a game that's not even a gig. You know what I mean? The size of the file is inconsequential. And how they work is they work on a self-submission system. You basically submit your game to them. You basically disclose points of contention with your game, like if your game's got nudity, your game's got swearing, your game's got gore, blood and anything. You actually describe your game to PEGI. And most of the time they don't even actually look at your game, they just give it a rating, give it a rubber stamp. But for that privilege, and you can't release a game on the main brand, you can't release a game without getting one of these ratings, by the way. For the privileges and rubber stamping that, you get charged at least £1,000, I think it is, per platform. So if you release a multi-platform title, Xbox One, PS4, Nintendo Switch, for example, you're looking at 3 separate fees there. So that's extremely prohibitive to the small studios, because they've instantly got to recoup all that money before, just to get a damn bloody rating. And if their game doesn't do too well, because the marketplace on the Xbox One is a very, very cluttered place, and I think it's grossly unfair to indies. But for them to make that money back, it just puts them off. I mean, there's even I can't remember the name of the game now, but there's even European studios that are actually neglecting their home market and just going straight to be released in the US market. Sure, there's the bigger install base there. I understand them doing that, but one of the big factors is the ESRB or ERSB, again, whichever one it bloody well is. They have a completely different approach. If your game is online only, there's no fee. You can release your game and get it rated for free. Free versus potentially £3,000, £4,000 before you even started. And those fees from PEGI go up depending on the bloody file size, which is completely irrelevant to anything. You know what I mean? If your game's a large game, or you've not poorly handled your data well, and your file size is blown up out of proportion, it could have been smaller. It actually goes in different brackets, and the fee goes up per platform. It's just so off-putting to developers, and I really feel for them. It's just so anti-small studio, anti-indie developer. I mean, for the big boys, it's not a worry. It's a drop in the ocean. The big boys get charged the same amount of money. You know what I mean? As the little guys do. That is just not fair, is it? It's just ridiculous. That is. But that's the reason why we don't get games. And this game, I think, is one of the top 3 games of the year. Might not get a looking over here for that reason. It's just a shame. It's just absolutely ridiculous. I absolutely hate PEGI. You know, they're just, and like I say, it's a self-submission basis as well. They don't actually, a lot of the time, they don't actually look at your game. I understand they only look at the game for audit purposes, and if you file a dispute against the rating, they will actually then take the time to get off their backsides and look at the game itself. Now, they've come out with comments in the past that they're non-profit, but they've got a nice bloody headquarters, and they don't seem to do an awful lot for their money, if I'm honest with you. Or they don't seemingly do an awful lot for the money. That's my outside observation. I'm not the only one with that opinion as well. I just think they just charge exorbitant fees, really, and just anti-indie gaming, and just a load of bloody nonsense, really. It just needs sorting out. It needs sorting out. It needs to adopt the ESRB method, free if you're online only, and then these indie games will come to all formats, and we'll be able to play them. A couple of final things before I go, because I know I've been talking for bloody hell, it's half an hour now. probably a bit less once I've edited out the silent bits. But yeah, a couple of quick things. You may have noticed I put a new channel trailer up the other day. Thought that came out rather well, really. Just wanted something brief and concise. It's been well overdue, me updating that, and yeah, quite pleased with it, really. And you may have noticed that the mixer at the end. So my plan is that's going to start 2018. Not got a schedule as of yet, obviously, because I've got to sort out a few things and work out what's the best thing to do, because I want to set a schedule that I know I'm going to be able to keep, health permitting, obviously, and not, you know, keep dropping out of streams and stuff. But the reason I'm going with Mixer is that I did stream for a little bit before with Twitch a few years back. It was reasonably, I only did it for a few weeks and it was reasonably successful. Did very little pushing for it, and I got to about 500, I think 500 followers with very little effort. But yeah, it was just like a little following in it. But the reason why I want to go for Mixer is because Mixer is the brand supported by Microsoft. It's the one that Microsoft want you to stream on, even though they do offer Twitch. I know Twitch is where the people are, but I don't do it for that. I just want to do it to try and support Microsoft, and if that's the thing they're pushing, that's the thing they're wanting, then that's the place I'm going to do it. So hopefully some of you will follow me over to Mixer, and hopefully it'll pull a few more people into the YouTube channel from Mixer as well. But anyway, well, rambling from me now. It's now 11:39. I've still got over possibly 6 hours to wait for my Xbox One X there, but it's been fun talking to you guys. I know it's been completely unscripted and mostly unedited. I'm just going to edit the silent sections out there. Thanks all for your continued support. Look out for some review videos coming shortly, and I am going to try and get some X videos out there as quickly as possible for you, just so you can see the most powerful gaming console in all its glory. Really excited for it. Can't believe the day's finally here, but it is. So I'll catch you in the next video, guys. If you managed to watch all this, thank you very much for listening to my random babbling, and thanks for your continued support, guys, and helping the channel grow. It does mean an awful lot to me. Catch you on the next one.